Hi, this is Helena Coyne, and this is my final presentation for my capstone project. So, kind of the introduction to my project. It's a website that combines all of the content of my resume, LinkedIn profile, and GitHub onto one single platform. And this came from when I was applying for internships last summer. I caught myself hoping that a hiring manager would take the time to look at all three of those to get a full grasp of who I am as a person and a software developer. But I found myself thinking that's really kind of an unrealistic hope. So I combined them all onto one platform. And I used React, Spring Boot, MongoDB, Docker, and AWS as my main technologies. Kind of the overarching objective was to kind of be able to display everything that I've done up until this point. So I wanted to display all of my projects that I've created within this major, showing the details of each of those with different screenshots of planning documentation and of the final product, as well as show some education information about the degree, the courses that I took, and the skills that I gained. Present some of my professional experiences and positions that I've had over the years here at GCU and other places, as well as display a biography of myself, kind of explaining who I am, and then recommendations that I've received from other people. And then finally, a contact form that a user would be able to submit a message to me, and it would email me. Some of the user experience that was implemented to ensure kind of a positive user experience. So I have my homepage that kind of has call to action buttons for each of the main sections. So there's those 5 main pages that I mentioned, and the homepage kind of gives introductions to each of those. And then I decided to show my projects in a kind of tabular display. So on the first tab, there's all of the projects, and then you can press on each one of the tabs that are separated by language to be able to see each of the projects for each of the main languages that I learned. And then I had my recommendations being shown just kind of as a preview, maybe a couple of sentences on that main page, but there's a button that allows a pop-up to see the full letter. And then I created it as a fully responsive design from an iPhone 5 to a desktop. And then using image carousels for all of those pictures, whether the design or the final product screenshots. Those are swipeable on touch devices instead of actually having to press the button. You can just swipe through, and then having a confirmation page for the contact form for the user to know that it was completed. Some of the technical design and implementation approach details. I decided to use Material I to kind of create a professional looking but clean and user-friendly application. And then using React to create those reusable components. So I have a product or a project card, for example, that's used on the index page, but also on the project's page itself for every single project. So that card component's being used probably about 25 times or something like that. And then incorporating my REST API within Spring Boot for the retrieving HTTP requests and passing the data back from the database, that middleman, and then storing the data in MongoDB for a more flexible database. Not every single project has, a sitemap or whatever it may be. Each of them kind of had different components with it, so using that made everything easier and more flexible. And then using Mailgun for my front end, specifically putting Mailgun on the front end, to send the emails without needing to pass that information back into the back end. You can implement that into either side, but I figured front end was just easier without needing to pass anything. I don't really have many issues. One of them is Mailgun. I learned recently that it doesn't accept Yahoo emails, and there's nothing that it seems that I can do to fix that. I could have a validation that in my code that just doesn't accept Yahoo emails. But I'm just going to kind of watch my Mailgun notifications because it does tell me when something failed. So I can see that. And then my hero banner doesn't autoplay 100% of the time. Sometimes it's just a white screen and you have to refresh or whatever. It's set to autoplay, so I'm not sure exactly what that is. I think it just might be AWS lacking to send in that video. And then I'll go ahead and do my demo. So here is my application. This is the landing page that I talked about, has all of those little call to action for each of these main pages here with some of my skills and expertise. I'm going into the different projects that you can see through the carousel. And then a little experience, my most recent positions at GCU. So you can press each of those to go to the main pages, but I'll just start by going to projects. This was kind of that tabular report I mentioned. Here's all of them. You can go to Java, C#, PHP, kind of separating them all out by language. And then if you wanted to go ahead and click on one, it shows you all the details of that application with an introduction, different technologies that were used, the objective, some design information with a carousel of the images with sitemap, UML, earlier ER, basically all the things that helped me design the application itself, and then that final product. So these were like the final screenshots, and this is kind of the structure of every project within the website, showing all of the details for each and every one of these. And then I have my experience. This just kind of shows each of those leadership positions or paid positions that I had, starting with my positions at GCU, as well as GCE, and then a leadership camp that I went to, and then my old school positions as well. And then into my education, just kind of shows some details, explains the details of the degree itself, along with the skills that were learned through those courses. And then those courses are actually shown below, and you can press on any one of these, and it gives you a little introduction and the technologies used. If it had a associated project, that button will show up to send you to that specific project, so you can see what was created in that class. And then I have my about page. All these images are being a little slow because I haven't been on here in a while. But here's my biography, a little bit about myself, and then it goes into those recommendation previews that I mentioned. And if you press on them, it'll give you a pop-up that shows you the whole message. And then lastly, I have my contact page that a user can fill out, and this will actually email me, or they can use a little call message or call text here, as well as the email to contact me. And then there's kind of similar email here, LinkedIn, GitHub, all in my footer as well. You can navigate the website there. But other than that, that's kind of my whole application. Here is the one error that I discussed. Sometimes it doesn't show up immediately. But yeah, thank you for watching.